All right, hi. I am Colby. I am Codameron. I am the Boca Raton Bothan Spy, and I am here with a very special guest, my good friend.
Hello, friend.
And what is your official title?
I am a senior game designer and the creative lead of Star Wars.
This is my friend Tyler Parrott. We go back a ways, and he has agreed to talk with me a little bit. We talk a lot. We're excited about this game. We talk about good things, and I want to talk to you, Tyler, about some standout things that I've seen at this tournament. Right now, we're in day 3 of Gencon 2024. All 3 are large events. Really cool for FFG to be having 3 big tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool decks I want to talk about that aren't really the meta. When I say the meta, I say a lot of people...
Boba Fett on... let's see if I can remember. Sabine, Iden, / Krennic / Kira. Although right. Kira might be something different, actually.
Like, if I tell you Control, you're going to say, oh, Blue.
Palpatine might be added there. Blue villain specifically.
Palpatine. If I say aggro, you're going to say Boba Fett. You're going to say... But if I said, hey, Tyler, what do you think about a Han 2 blue deck with a strong Force package? What would you think about that?
It sounds pretty good. I mean, the red Force cards are good. The blue Hero Force cards are good. The blue Hero Force cards are good, and the red Force payoffs are good.
Yeah.
So it seems like a natural fit. People have been making blue-red Hero Force decks for a bit. And Han being able to get your Force units out earlier sounds like a pretty huge advantage.
Yeah. So I've been working really hard with a team of people. They're going by the Bothan Network. They're all started as a good Florida, Alabama, Southern group, and it's really expanding. And these people are testing and growing and putting hundreds of reps into these decks. And one of the decks that we found, we call it Hey Kid, because this is the young Han.
Yeah.
And the plan is, to have that toolbox of huge bomb threats that you use the removal in red to get you to those Luke's, Chewie's, crate. And if you go Luke, Chewie, crate, your targeted removal is unparalleled.
How often does the deck want to not use the leader, not use Han to get the unit out early? Because, I have 4 resources, it's better for me to just play a regular Kanan instead of trying to play a... I guess there's no 5 cost in the Force unit, is there? You get what I mean.
Right.
Oh, right, yeah, great.
Ray was in the list for a bit.
Right, great. So, when is it better, or are there times where it's better for the Han deck to be not using Han to get out of Kanan instead of using Han to get out of Ray?
Yeah. So, the answer...
That's my question for you.
The answer is that I've seen, and again, I want to shout out Jeremiah, goes by Sinatra, and then Dylan, who goes by Tibbets from my forum, and even Frank Soldak. They have found that Karabast is a really key card in this deck.
Yes, I had so much faith in this card. I was like, Karabast is going to be good, you guys. And they were like, yeah, but it requires so much setup. And I was like, no, I believe in Karabast. And now here I am.
So one of the biggest early games.
That's actually funny because in just set 1, one of the decks that I had was a Chewbacca deck that was literally built around Force Throw Karabast in an otherwise all blue hero deck.
Yeah. The play lines are you get to play Yoda on turn 1 and Cassian on turn 1. Because you don't have
Cassian,
to run,
sure, but Yoda's good.
You don't have to run the 2 drops. But Yoda likes dying. Yoda wants to be on the field. Yoda says, yeah, sure, take me out. But then you get to Karabast and play a 2 drop for 1 on the second turn. And then late game you get to play Redemption and Karabast. You get to play Chewbacca as a 6/8 with Karabast.
Redemption making Karabast into a defeat anything is very good.
And I don't want to dwell on it too long, but as far as I'm concerned, Tech is busted.
He is one of the strongest cards in the set, I agree.
And I think that this deck is one of the strongest to leverage it because it can get to that late game where you're playing Cassians, Chewbaccas, and Tech out of your discard pile, and you can slam a Crate Dragon.
The format so far that I've seen has not been aggressive enough to punish these big late game grindy. I'm going to play Tech and Crate Dragons and stuff.
Yeah. So as far as, if you had to ask me, I like playing aggro decks, I like playing weird decks, but I think the actual best deck that is still untapped potential in this format is Hey Kid, is Han 2 Blue.
Well, and the reason I asked the question earlier about Kanan and Rey is that if Han's job in the deck is to make all of your cards into sort of split cards of I can either do this or do that, it just means he's always going to be able to play the best units in his hand, even if he didn't draw the units he specifically wants at the right time.
Yeah. And then you can do stuff like Luke comes out a turn early, or he comes out on 7 for 6 and Force throws.
Yep.
Oh, it's great.
Very good.
But yeah, so that's what I think is the coolest deck. But I think one of the other decks, the other thing that we've seen a real rise of, I've seen it, is blue-green villain.
He told me about this deck right before, and I was like, that's cute, that's very cool. I'm glad someone's playing it. And then it went, what? How did it go?
So hold on. You're talking about the Hondo list.
Yes, I am talking about the Hondo list.
So before we talk about the Hondo list,
Okay.
I want to acknowledge that top 3 was
was Kira in there?
Kira went 7-0.
Oh wow! Good job, Kira.
Krennic Green went 6-1, I think, or 5-2 or something. It did very, very well. And George on Hondo Blue, also green blue villainy, went 5-2,
right?
but lost to those 2 other decks in grindy long matchups. I have them all streamed.
Sure.
And you can really see a great clinic from all these players, especially in these grindy late game bombs. Devastator to Avenger to Power the Dark Side to Fell the Dragon to...
One of my absolute favorite things to do is to watch players who are better than me play games like this and then take notes. Like, there's so much to learn just from watching better than me players, and a lot of players are better than me, even though I have had a several year head start.
So, Tyler, from a designer's perspective, how exciting is it to see so many flavors of the same 3 colors? Because I gotta tell you, there are similarities in these lists.
Yeah.
I think most of them run Chilton. I think most of them run Power of the Dark Side. But, like, there's cards in the Hondo list that aren't in the Kira list that aren't in the Krennic list. What things do you... How does that bring you joy?
Starhopper doesn't belong in anything other than Hondo.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the goal, right? The goal is that any deck has the potential to be viable. The goal is that players can play their favorite characters and feel like they're not getting pushed out of the metagame. That players can play the cards they want rather than play the cards they feel like they have to play.
Yeah.
Right? That's ultimately the goal. The goal is we want players to play with the cards that they find fun rather than tell the players which cards they have to play.
I love that, and I've seen that in my testing group. Now, I'm specifically talking about George.
He's the one that did
he's,
Hondo?
He's on the Hondo,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to see him saying, maybe I don't need 3 Super Laser Blasts, maybe Snoke in the main is better than Avenger, is so cool.
Sure.
Right? Avenger comes in from the side, but not in the main.
The Snoke versus Super Laser Blast discussion, like, we were having that debate a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that it's still happening, right?
Yeah.
And it's satisfying that it is a debate.
It is, and it's not always right.
Because each one does different things against different opponents, and you
Against
need to know what your
different
opponents are.
different
That's what I mean by
meta.
opponents.
Yeah. It is so cool to see the growth of this game, and we were even talking about just set 1 being so variable as far as, you know, the start of the game was blue green, yellow,
It was
green Boba Fett.
It was yellow green. It was Boba Green, and it was green Sabine, I think, right?
Yeah, and it was, I think, the turning point, at least for the community, for me at least, was when it was
When Vader won.
It was when Vader won at the Kissimmee 5K, which I forget the name of the player piloting it, but he built that deck with George.
Oh, nice.
George is the one who
George must feel very proud.
he is the master, in my eyes, at playing long, grindy matches. I don't know how he does it. The restock loops that he has. Oh my god.
Good old restock.
Yeah. And I love how advanced and how wide the metagame has become. So Tyler, as far as you're concerned, do you have maybe a favorite deck, but
Sure.
more of everyone has a favorite.
Yeah.
You know, I love Target.
And I love Grand Inquisitor. We know this.
Okay, but what's the sauce? What from a developer's point of view, what hasn't the community found yet? I have ideas, but like, what haven't we found yet? Is there more to find?
So that's a really hard question for me to answer ever, because we test a set for 8 to 12 months, depending on how you define testing. And there's there's 8 of us to start with, and eventually we bring on additional playtesters, which adds up to 20 or 30 playtesters. And then the set comes out, and within a day, millions of people, thousands of people have played with the cards.
Yeah.
Like, how the heck are we going to find stuff that you guys don't? There's stuff that I feel has a lot of potential, but maybe doesn't have the right home for it yet.
There are things that I feel like this is so close. Grand Inquisitor is one of them.
Yeah.
Where it feels like set 2 gave it so much, and I still haven't found it. The action economy is hard for me to handle.
Kira is a personal favorite of like, I don't know what she does in a metagame really, because there are so many different things she could do that I don't know what the most effective version of her even looks like.
Yeah.
Let alone what the most effective version of that archetype is.
Right.
Right? Like, is she supposed to be an aggro deck that shields her units to stay on the board so they can't stop her from winning with grit, right? With the grit version?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or is she supposed to be a control deck that leverages her deploy to be a mini board wipe that you then follow up with more removal options?
And that's what
I don't know.
That's what Ophir actually. Apparently, we have a small sample size. Yes, we do know. Ophir has decided that this Kira version that is a control deck is strong enough to win these big tournaments. I'm not saying it's the best.
Which is interesting because she doesn't have, other than the when deployed semi board wipe, which again doesn't remove any units from the board intentionally.
Yep.
She doesn't have any of the recovery power that, say, Krennic does, or that Aiden does.
Yep.
Right? These leaders that are focused very explicitly on, I'm going to, Aiden more so than Krennic, I'm going to survive and recover with restore and healing. Kira just has to rely on other cards to do that. Is that enough? Apparently.
I've had so much fun exploring this game. My explorations have been into Tarkin and growing boards from small to big, and then Ray comes out and she grows boards from small to medium, and then to wide, and then recovers, and then I love the development of Ray runs Pillage.
I think in a metagame that is skews slow and skews controlling, I think Pillage is just going to be a card that we see a lot of.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, we're almost out of time.
Yes,
but as
I'm
far
gonna have
as before you do, give me something, Tyler. Give me something to be excited about. Give me something. Give me some juice.
If you like, man, there's so much that I can say about that. I want to say about set 3 that I can't say about set 3.
How about this?
But I know what kinds of things interest you. So, I'm going to say. Set 3 is when we made an intentional effort to see how much we could push archetypes into new colors.
New colors, same archetypes, new colors.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, Tyler, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you around.
I love it. I'm glad you're here.
Shout out to my team. They do so much work. I just stand in front of the camera sometimes.
No, you stand behind the camera.
Is this not the front of the camera?
Yeah, but yesterday, was it yesterday?
Well, put me in front of a camera more often, Tyler. Let them know.
There you go. You got it here. Official request, get me in front of the camera.
All right, and again, I'm Colby. I am Codameron. This has been Tyler Parrott. Thank you all so much for stopping by.
Yeah.
And play more Star Wars Unlimited. See you all around.